Hey everyone, it's me. It's so cold in Wisconsin today, but I wanted to stop and make a video, and say, I want to talk about expectations, image, etc., and why I feel so very fortunate to be raised by the man who was my father. Um, I don't know how much I've touched on this, but in our home, I was raised in my mom's family was fairly large. She had 7 brothers and sisters. Um, I had a multitude of cousins. First cousins, second cousins, third cousins. I had a lot of aunts and uncles, great aunts and uncles, etc. And my dad's side, he had 2 brothers, so I had, cousins on that side as well. So we had a pretty big family, and uh, our family image was normal. We just were a family. We weren't upper class. I'd say we were middle class, etc. But we had a pretty decent family. But inside of my home, and I don't know why this happened. um, I have 3 sisters. My parents were married um, for a while until I was 13. But I remember growing up, and my dad was very quiet. We didn't talk a lot together. We would go fishing together and bond that way, but there wasn't any heart-to-hearts. My dad really didn't know how to express love per se, um, by giving us hugs and kisses. So his love for us was being a good provider. He was a firefighter, and he was a good dude. And my mom, she was a nurse and this and that, but my mom was more worried about image, about everything looking perfect and us being always very well behaved and this and that. And so I was taught, you respect your elders, and be, it, it's always about the image, making sure everything looked perfect. So inside of our house, it was, there wasn't a lot of, hey, love you, hey, hugs and kisses and this and that. There wasn't a lot of things on that end. So we did get it outside of our home by our grandmothers and aunts and uncles and cousins and this and that. So my dad, when I was very young, had a problem with drinking. He ended up getting into uh, when my mom and dad were at I don't know if it was an engagement party, but my dad said something inappropriate and was jumped by a number of our families and beat up. My mom took us to my grandparents' home, and my dad came over, and he promised to stop drinking, and he did. He would drink social. I don't I don't remember. He just stopped drinking. Maybe it was just a beer here and there, but we were gathered together as a family again, and then my dad fell into drinking again after the divorce, and in such a severe state that it was pretty rough. He was 6'2", 130 pounds. He had to retire out of the fire department a couple of years early because he could not function. He reminded me of a Holocaust survivor, and we had a few really rough years. I remember 20s when this happened. My oldest daughter was around 4, youngest was around 2. So I was probably 24-ish when my dad's alcoholism spun out of control, and for a number of years, um, it was really, really rough. And then one day, we got him out of a nursing home and got him detoxed, and he called me and he said, "Hey, how's it going?" As if he was just a-okay. So from then on, he became my best friend. He was my confidant, my cheerleader. But what my dad wasn't was he was not fake. He also was not ashamed of himself. And he apologized. He said, "I'm sorry I wasn't the dad you needed and deserved." And I said, "I love you and I forgive you." And we ended up having the most fantastic relationship. And I miss him every day because I wish he was still here to really enjoy my life and come over and this and that. But that's the one thing I'm so grateful for, was that I was raised by a man who was not perfect and who didn't claim to be perfect. And sorry, um, but it gave me the opportunity to not be ashamed of who I am. I don't have to be perfect. I wasn't called to be. Have I made decisions, you know, I look back on it and I'm like, oh gosh. Yeah, I do. But it makes me who I am today. My experiences and my choices allow me to bond with people in a much deeper level than just surface. I can, sometimes when I share my experience, my friends are like, oh, I did that too. I don't know. It's a little, like when you read a book and you get to a certain part, you're like, ooh, that's cool. That's what we do for one another, us imperfect human beings. So I just want to say that we are imperfect human beings. And I'm so glad I forgave my dad. And I'm so glad that he was a part of my children's lives. That they were with me. Um, they estranged after he passed away. And I tell you, if our children could understand that, I don't know. I'm not going to go off in that direction, but I just want to say that I'm so glad I forgave my dad and gave him the opportunity so that we could have a really special relationship. I'm so glad I did. It really livens things up when you're getting 300 calls a day about the same thing from someone who's been drinking or is challenging. And I could go into more stories, but I'm so glad that I had the time with him that I did. And I just want to say, please don't ever apologize for being a human being. Yes, don't cease being who you are to appease other people or to make sure your children don't leave, or so that they come back. Don't sacrifice your true self for anyone else. My dad, if he was here today, we would be talking together. It would be funny because if he was here, he would do these videos with me, and we would just, you could see the special bond and us joking around and stuff. So I just want to say I miss him every day, and I hope that our estranged children give us, come back around and come back with a pure heart, and just realize how valuable we are. We really truly are. So I wanted to share this. I hope this helps someone else, and we'll talk with you soon. Bye bye.